Welcome to the Deal by Me podcast, where we invite guests to share their stories. Hello, I'm Dr. James W. Smith, your host. When you listen to any of the Deal by Me podcasts, please consider supporting us with a donation or a monthly contribution as low as $3. If you're viewing or listening to this podcast on YouTube, please subscribe. To all supporters, we say thank you. Be sure to check out my inspiring, encouraging, and transformative books available on Amazon. I am also available for speaking engagements, so feel free to contact me by way of Facebook, LinkedIn, or my website, www.dealbymepodcast.com. I have with me Adan Castaneda, who is an ex-Marine sniper who deployed to the Iraq War shortly after 9/11. He wrote the autobiography of his time in the military, as his life was an extreme real-life game of chess where he had to make strategic moves, analyze the battlefield, and find a way to survive. He is the author of Chess Perception, Mindset is Everything. When he returned home, he lost a family member to gun violence. He self-medicated with drugs and alcohol for years before being admitted to psych wards for about 7 years. I am excited to have Adan uh, come and share on this podcast today, and I'm certain that you will enjoy what he has to say. And so, Adan, would you share just a little about yourself that I may not have already mentioned, and let listeners know where you're located?
You nailed all that information. I'm from San Antonio, Texas. A little bit more about myself. I am a published author, certified paralegal, a cybersecurity specialist, a nationally certified life coach, recovery coach, and intervention professional. And I do run the recovery protocol to where I try to help, addicts get clean, focus on family, focus on living the American dream and kind of stay busy and stay away from drugs, cartel members, stay away from dealers, and change your life around.
Oh, I love that. I love that. I had an opportunity to read your profile and in detail, Adan, and I was very impressed. It's very impactful and also very insightful. And so I think listeners will appreciate what you have to say today. You just told us a little bit about your background. Uh, so let me talk to you a little bit about what you're doing and some things about your life. I note that you're the author of Chess Perception. Mindset is Everything. Am I correct about that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Uh, so when you wrote your book, uh, could you kind of let us know what was inspired you, or what was that thing that was burning on the inside that said, I got to write this book?
That it's when I was in the psych ward. I've been in the psych ward, for many years as well. I've been diagnosed with schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, PTSD, and other,
Hmm.
diagnoses. When I was there, me and a few other patients would play chess all day, every day. There's nothing else to do, so we just got really good at chess. And
Hmm.
then so we got became obsessed with it. And then you start thinking all these patterns and what's happened to you in real life and how, either childhood trauma or, people on the street or bullies or predators out there, drug dealers, how they're kind of like the enemy and they're making these moves and, they're taking people's lives with fentanyl and they're, attacking you and, gang members and
Hmm.
stuff like that. So you have to fight back and you have to learn strategy. And I started implementing like these chess games into like real life. What would I do in real life? Where would I move? Would I go to school? Or how would I make money and pay the bills? How would people relationships I would make? People I would meet who how I would have more security. You
Hmm.
know,
Oh,
and network. So, that was kind of how the concept and mindset of the writing the book, how every move I make is strategic. I analyze the chessboard, analyze moves, and try to keep my pieces alive, right? My family, my friends.
Oh, okay.
So it's like, and so the whole and then all my whole life story is in there too. So I wanted before I die, I had a lot of near-death experiences. I'm like, well, if I die at any time, it could be a car accident, cancer, it could be someone could kill me, overdose could happen, whatever.
Mhm.
I'm clean now, thank God, 10 years clean. But back then when I was writing the book, it's like, well, I want to get my story out there. So,
Mhm.
when I do die, that's my legacy. People could see it and my family could have it.
Wow, I love it. It's really, really amazing just talking to you and what you've gone through and how you've dealt with it. Did you have any, well, let me ask it this way. Is what is it that you want readers or listeners to basically get from this interview or either from reading your book? Is there something that you're trying to share, make certain that they can kind of, you know, get as they read your book?
I do talk about my whole jail experience. There's a chapter in there called the psychopath,
Hmm.
and the psychopath would be the main trying to get the point and message out there. It's basically like the fentanyl epidemic. So
Okay.
the fentanyl epidemic, a lot of drug dealers, they are psychopaths. So my experience was I had relapse and I was blacking out, having like a clogged throat and everything, and like losing coordination in my legs and all that. So it's like I got poisoned with something. And psychopaths out there, they lace it, they mix it, they can mix it with any drug, they mix it with cyanide or poison
Oh,
or fentanyl. And so
okay.
all that mixture, people die from that. So the message would be like, anyone thinking of using or any addict out there or anyone struggling in addiction, you just have to quit cold turkey, get clean,
Mm,
start hitting the gym, dieting, exercising, becoming a workaholic, focusing on how to make money, work, starting a business, going to school, starting a family,
mhm.
and taking care of business as a man or a young woman, or.
I got you. I hear you very, very well. You said something interesting earlier about the site war, while you was playing chess and what have you. So curious, do you recommend chess for addicts and the mentally ill?
Yes, of course. That's
Wh-
the biggest. I'm the biggest chess fan in the world. I was
Okay,
so.
so tell us why you recommend it.
Chess has a lot of benefits. It has benefits for senior citizens, it has benefits for addicts, even people with brain damage. It has benefits for increasing memory, cognition, concentration. It helps build dendrites, which is like, I believe, memory nerve cells in the brain, I believe. So it helps you think strategically. It helps young adults, like young children, teenagers, develop the prefrontal cortex for executive functioning, so decision-making skills. It helps strengthen decision-making skills to where they'll be less likely to make risky decisions like speeding or using drugs, and they're just more responsible. They're focused, they're calmer, so
Hmm.
it helps in a lot of different ways, and it helps build discipline, obviously memory, because you have to memorize a lot of patterns and moves, and strategies and past moves, and you have to learn from your mistakes, so you have to make better moves the next time. And so there's a lot of benefits to it.
Okay. Well, that's very, very interesting. You're amazing. I have to admit, I interview lots of folks, and you have a really dynamic story. You told us a little bit about your background. Ex-Marine sniper. You also an author. Uh, is uh, is there anything else that's I assume you've spent some time in the psych ward. Uh, is there anything else that's peculiar about your background that you wanted to kind of share?
That's interesting. I've met a lot of unique individuals, highly intelligent, extremely dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
And so when the people out there have to know that it's just pretty bad out there on the street. I've seen even on social media, women who've almost been abducted in vans, and they have to take off running, to save their lives. People like children out there, there's abductions, kidnappings, people getting snatched up, even homeless people. homeless women and stuff like that. So on the street, there's a lot of gangs out there, and it's the cartels out there, and they're the ones peddling fentanyl and drugs and killing, young adults and teenagers. So, just families and parents. I have my free ebook, Fentanyl Awareness for Parents on my
Hmm.
website. It's like I just want to bring awareness to, just because it's to bring security to families so that they
Hmm.
could just, be aware. And when you're aware, just take precaution, right? So
Wow, wow. Do you think we're at war with drug dealers who are killing young Americans every single day?
it's a war, yes. They say it's like a plane crash every single day, and there should be more policies and laws around it. A lot
Hmm.
of times, fentanyl drug dealers, they don't get, maybe the district attorney can't prove intent or intent to kill, or that there was lethal dose, that they had knowledge or whatever, but so they don't prosecute sometimes, and sometimes the drug dealers get away with it, or just a little bit of time.
Hmm.
So there should be like harsher penalties, so to get them off the street, more consequences, and the police should be more, take more serious action against these people, especially if they've taken lives, because they're going to continue to do so even when they get out. It's all they know. It's like the game they call it, and they just never get out of it, and it's how they make money.
So
Um,
so I assume you don't feel that the police are doing enough.
They well, one of the reasons is because, like, on the dark web, drug
Uh-huh.
dealers, they go to any, they could be white, black, Mexican, any race.
Uh-huh.
They get fentanyl from India and China off the dark web, and it costs them $300 or $400, and they could turn that into $100,000. And so money's a prime incentive for them to be doing this. They don't care that it kills people because they get more customers. They get people on the street, homeless people, young adults, Hollywood glamorizes a lot of this stuff to where, on movies and stuff like that, and rap music and all that, they glamorize using drugs, the party lifestyle, and a lot of young adults,
Hmm.
they get intrigued by that, and they want to party, they want to have fun, and it costs them their lives.
Mm, that's well said. You know, you have a lot of young folk, and when you think about it, I've read and see on TV how these young people get addicted to certain drugs, especially fentanyl that we hear about all the time. So, uh, how can parents, get involved in their children's recovery? They try to help them. What can they really do? They see it all the time. They know what's going on. So, what is it that they can do that will help?
A strong method is to hire an intervention professional. And
Okay.
so that's something that I've also done too. But you can hire an intervention professional. They can be expensive. Obviously the rehabs and the detox centers and the sober living centers, if they have insurance, is covered. I know there's still a deductible. It can be very expensive. I have a program that's more affordable. I try to hold members accountable. We get together, we network. It's supposed to be like there's camaraderie, a brotherhood and sisterhood. And but that's my method, where I try to help
Okay. Okay.
addicts, but obviously recovery centers, detox centers, sober living homes, and an intervention professional. What they'll do is they'll fly out to wherever they live, the addict. They'll talk to the family, sit down with them, have the family write letters, try to get them help, convince them to go to rehab, and then some of them provide coaching for up to a year of
Okay.
counseling.
Okay. Now, is that program you're talking about, is that called Recovery Protocol?
That's my program.
Okay.
And
Okay.
that's more like, recovery centers, detox, that could be, some rehabs are $30,000 a month, right?
Okay. Uh-huh.
If deductible is going to be $2,000 to $7,000, just a deductible if you have insurance.
Hmm.
If you don't have insurance, you have to pay out of pocket. But my program is $50 a month. We play chess. Tetris is also like very interactive and can help with addicts, with those dopamine hits, solving puzzles, making you think, trying to figure out these patterns and stuff, and you have to do this fast. So we do different things, hold people accountable. I have a bucket list. This
Okay.
bucket list has 2,500 activities that
Mm.
you can do. A lot of addicts, when they get clean, it's very boring and dull because life is just like, all the dopamine sacs and all the serotonin, all that have been depleted. So they're crashing, their brain's crashing, and
Hmm.
they're in a fight for their life. And, so that's why it's easy to relapse, because they want to feel good again. But you have to get engaged with life. Once they get engaged with life, doing things on their bucket list, flying a plane, taking flight lessons, going out there, going to hockey games
Hmm.
or, baseball games, whatever. and having fun with your family and traveling, doing some archery. I do archery,
Hmm.
and so different things, joining the chess club, going to tournaments, doing
Okay.
things you've always wanted to do because when an addict, they think, well, any day could be your last. Well, make it meaningful, find purpose,
Okay.
and do many things and go hunting. That's
Mm.
another thing to you can find peace, be one with nature, live off the land, and that gets you out there. And once you after a few years your body starts stabilizing, you're going to feel a lot better. You're dieting,
Mm.
you're exercising, you're healthy, you're strong, you're fit, you're educated, you're going to school, you're studying,
Mm.
and then before you know it, you're making money and you can support yourself.
Let me ask you something else that you mentioned as you were talking about your recovery protocol, what your program, and you said something about insurance. So, uh, I guess I'm trying to figure out what if the families of the addicts don't have insurance? How does this work? They
That's
have to pay I mean, they have to pay for the full amount, or is there some other way that can be done?
because average cost of rehabs are 30 grand out of pocket. My program is $50 out of pocket. I can't take insurance. I haven't done all that legal,
Okay, okay.
red
I,
tape
I
yet.
I got you.
But
Okay. Okay.
yeah.
All right, that's what I'm trying to find out. Okay. Um, Adam, I have to admit, I'm enjoying talking with you, and this has been it's a great conversation. Uh, I am, when I started this podcast, about about 4 years ago, I wanted to interview people just like you who had stories to tell, how they overcame. As a matter of fact, I'm writing my next book that I finished writing it. I'm just waiting to get my copyright letter back. It's entitled Overcoming and Defying Odds. And I was dealing with, people who I thought was encouraging, inspiring, and transforming. And you meet all my criteria, I have to admit. Uh, so the question I want to ask, because I have different people, because they know what my podcast is all about. They're listening. Uh, Somebody out there who maybe an alcoholic, a drug addict, uh, gambler, like I was. I was a gambler. Um, is there anything you would say to them that will be encouraging, inspiring, and transforming?
I would stick with I would say never give up, right? Whatever it is, like childhood trauma or PTSD or mental illness or depression or whatever, just never give up. Keep
Okay,
on, fight the good fight, fight the good fight. Get
okay.
clean, take care of your family, right? Take care of your
Mm-hmm.
family, do what you're supposed to. Be a man, be the head of the household, or if you're a woman, be the head of the household, right? Be strong, just be strong, stay strong, and
Mm-hmm.
just never give up, right? Never
Okay.
give in, never give up.
Well said. Well said. Well said. I love that. Listen, don't go to place because I'm having a great conversation with Adan, and I I want to give him the opportunity to share with you how you can learn a little bit more about him, how you can get his book, and anything else that he wants to share that will help you uh, get in touch with him. So, Adan, would you do that at this time?
My website is therecoveryprotocol.org, therecoveryprotocol.org, and it's going to be my landing page and everything about me is on there.
Okay, okay. What about where they can get your book?
Well, the fentanyl awareness for parents is a free ebook on that page, and you could download the PDF for
Okay,
free.
okay,
Um, and then my chest perception autobiography, there's going to be a link to my Amazon books, and you can find it there.
okay, great. All right. Well, thank you so very much for sharing that. Just a couple more questions, and I'll let you go. What is your experience? Because I know listeners want to know. Well, what is your experience with using drugs and having severe mental illness?
It's well, I've had near death experience. I've been to the hospital many times. If I wasn't treated in time, I would have died. If I didn't take certain actions, I would have died. I've met dangerous psychopaths on the street,
Hmm.
and I feel that people, families, like especially if you're a father or a mother, and you have addicts, in the family, I understand from my experience, you have to start learning to become a protector, be a protector of your family. You have to be that guardian angel, your survivor, first of all. Now that you're survivor, you can't be relapsing, you can't be messing up or drinking or doing drugs. You have to stay clean the rest of your life. You also have to protect your family, protect yourself as well, so you
Mhm.
can be strong, protect your family. If there's an invasion, home invasion, or on the street, or if someone's trying to
Mhm.
manipulate you and coerce you and convince you and persuade you to try to be doing drugs, you have to be psychologically strong. You have to have mental fortitude, and you have to
Mhm.
be that protector for your family and a guardian angel for your loved ones.
Mm. I love that. I love it. Um, my last question to you is, can you explain why it's important to aim for the goal of living the American dream? We hear about that so much. I'm living the American dream. That's why I'm here.
Yes,
I
sir.
want to live the American dream. Can you talk about that just a little bit?
Real quick, so like they say, if you aim for the moon and you
Uh-huh.
miss, you'll still land among the stars, right? You'll still, if you
Hmm.
miss, right? You have to aim high, and even if you don't hit your target, you're gonna still land high, right?
Oh, okay.
So, like people don't like the American dream sometimes. They're like, oh, well, that's just made up or whatever. It's like, well, you can do anything you want. It's like, well, people could be doing drugs and doing all this crazy stuff and overdosing or whatever. That's not how people. I don't believe that,
Hmm.
families would want their loved ones to live, right? The
Hmm.
American dream is just like, you have a relationship, you're married, or you have a relationship, you have a house, a
Hmm.
car, a good job, children, and then you have a family and a dog, a couple dogs, and the white picket fence, a good neighborhood, good community. You get along with your neighbors.
Hmm.
And it's just living a good life, to where you have a person of good character. You care about your community. You care about your country, and you just try to bring positivity into the world.
Hmm. Adan, this is awesome conversation with you today. I want you to know how much I appreciate you coming on and sharing with the deal by me podcast. And I'm certain that listeners will appreciate everything that you've had to say because you've been really very, very encouraging and very inspiring. And so, again, I just want to say thank you. I do. Thank you so very much. And there you have it, Adan Castaneda sharing with us today. And until next time, peace and blessings be with each of you.
Thank you, sir.